Hey, what's up, guys? George Zapata here, your favorite product manager. I'm starting to play with the Dart programming language, and I'm documenting things that I'm learning and sharing with people out there in hopes that they could save a little bit of time if they're searching for solutions online. So here we go. First video I'm doing is showing how to actually pull data from an Excel file spreadsheet using the Dart programming language. First and foremost, what you want to do is you want to pull in this open source project called Spreadsheet Decoder. Spreadsheet Decoder is, like I said, open source, free. Pull it into your project and it helps you a ton. Like any language, I/O is never ever fun in any programming language. And it's not that bad right now using this spreadsheet decoder in the Dart programming language. It's not bad at all. First things first, we create a new variable called bytes. We're going to read all the bytes into this variable, and the way you read those in is by actually accessing your file. Now, I tried a lot of things here. Actually, I tried a relative path, and then I ended up going with like the full path from my C drive all the way into the actual spreadsheet itself. And I had to use a // before the actual C colon here, and then the rest of the path. So definitely take note of that and use that if you're trying this as well. The other thing to note, and I spent a lot of time on this actually, the original file I was using was a CSV, and I didn't think there'd be much of a difference. Convert your file or make sure you're pulling in data from an XLSX file, an actual spreadsheet. Otherwise, the decoder, spreadsheet decoder, will throw up all sorts of weird errors at you if it's not reading in an actual spreadsheet. Okay, let's keep going. Not a lot of code here, but it gets a lot of work done actually, so it's fantastic. And that's something I love about the Dart programming language as I learn more about it. So once you have the bytes, right, you're going to throw your bytes at this method called decode bytes into the spreadsheet decoder. So you basically get a decoder using the spreadsheet file that you had just indicated here in the prior line. And then from there, now you create a new variable. I called it table. You could call it tab, because basically what you're saying is, hey decoder, I want you to go look at export_test. And that's basically the tab in the spreadsheet. We'll take a look at it right over here. So here is my spreadsheet, export test XLSX, not a CSV. And then here's that tab, export_test. And that's the data that I want to read from export_test. And then all you do is basically then you set up your for loop, right? My first column is a row of headers, but I'm still parsing it by using a zero-based index. So obviously, for whatever the table or tab max rows is, we're just going to iterate through every single row. And as you iterate through the row, here's my variable that's a row, and I'm literally pulling that row from tables. The first one would be 0, so I pull in that header row, and I read all the data into this row object, right? And then I create these other variables, user ID and problem. So I'm basically, now that I have the row, I'm pulling in the element 0 and element 7. Now, like everything else, the columns are also 0-based. So if I'm pulling in 0 and 7, right, I'm pulling in 0 is this first one, which is an ID. And then if I'm pulling in 7, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one right here, column H, basically. I pull them into these variables and then I just spit them out at the end. User ID is blah, blah, blah. And then problem is blah, 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 which came from the spreadsheet. All right, so let's go ahead and run the program really quickly. And you're just going to see a bunch of things thrown at the console. And we'll make sure the last two variables are the last line in the program. So the last user ID that I'm showing is 2A212. 2A212 and a bunch of stuff. And then something about currently no full range of functions. Currently no full range of functions. And there you go. That's the final one. And I just iterated through my spreadsheet. Again, use Spreadsheet Decoder, open source project, use an XLSX file. And then I was only able to figure out how to just call the complete path and start it with the /. Other than that, it's pretty simple. You could do a lot of different things in here. And you can make this simpler as well with less lines of code, depending on what you really want to do and what your goals are. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my small tutorial about reading data from a spreadsheet, and have a great day, everyone.